the recommendation of the one who made us. He said, use it. Some people don't. They don't have accidents. We can't just say, but they... Be your own, don't wait for the police. Those who drive properly because of the police are not doing the right thing. We drive properly because we want to. That's why God said marriage is part of the highway of life, whereby if you approach it properly and you don't take shortcuts and go between speeding cars, you will arrive safely at your destination and you will enjoy the ride. Sometimes, go now on a countryside, there are people who are so impatient driving behind a car that is driving 80 on a country road because the driver and the passengers in the car want to enjoy the colors on the trees. But somebody behind them is wants to bypass. Go. And some people go to the shoulder a little bit to allow. Go. Go. No one is holding you back. If you want to drive and enjoy, when the time comes for that stretch of the highway called marriage, enjoy it. Don't bypass for you to enjoy things before they come. Don't say, I'm going to watch this site. Man, if you look here, you will. Don't. The manual says don't. Because imagine what will happen if you will pour on those hormones chemicals that those who have chemistry lab, they go and the teacher says, get that chemical, if you have hydrochloric acid and you bring sodium hypochlorite or sodium hydroxide and you pour one over the other, then why? There is a big chemical change that sometimes if you put a little bit, oh, what did I do? You shouldn't have done it. You shouldn't have put more than you're supposed to, because you should have what the teacher says, a controlled experiment, right? A controlled experiment. If the experiment becomes uncontrolled, you may burn your hands that are holding the test tube. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. If you go and watch improper things, you are putting chemicals on the hormones, and as you are sleeping during the night and everybody is enjoying their slumber, you are feeling that there's something inside. And you can't have a controlled experiment. You're in big trouble. Why did you do it? Don't do it. And there are those who are playing with test tubes and chemicals. So I'm saying you can't stop. That's why you are coming here today. That's why we want to look at the manual, examine the manual, and find out how we can do the right thing. When the time comes, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, He says, Ya ma'ashara, not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, who is speaking out of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals to him and puts in his consciousness. Ya ma'ashara al-shabab, man istata'a minkum al-ba'ata falyatazawwaj. Young men, and by extension young women, whosoever among you is able now to start a family, don't delay it. Go ahead and start one. If you feel that and what are the things that you should consider before you say, yes, I'm ready. what is that that makes you ready for marriage? What's that that is telling you, yes, the next stretch is that. Now, on GPS, there are certain GPS systems that, if you will work properly with it, it tells you after how many kilometers you are going to see gas stations or restaurants, or it tells you everything. And there are certain indicators in our lives that tell us the time is coming. Get ready. Get ready. Enjoy getting ready. That's why culturally now, there is a period called culturally, I'm coming to it, called engagement. Some people don't know how to deal with engagement. They carry that load of engagement in a different way, and they end up doing the wrong things during engagement when it's supposed to enjoy that period properly, because once you pass it, you're going to enjoy something else. That enjoyment of engagement, it will never come again. Because happiness quite often is preparing for something that will bring you more happiness. It's not only when you arrive at it. Sometimes, and I'll give you examples, when there are many examples, when you will arrive at what you think will bring you happiness, happiness will disappear. They've been living together for 7, 8 years. They decided to get married. They thought that once they get married, now they're going to be so happy. They get married, now it's responsibilities, they hate each other, it's the beginning of the end. Marriage is no more the beginning of a happy life. Marriage is the end of a terrible relationship. It's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be the beginning of something great, something exciting, something that, so every period of, that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, look, the life expectancy of a cat is 15 years. A cat, the first year, there are many other animals in the animal kingdom, they reach puberty in 6 months. They reach adulthood in 2 years. They become old when they are 3 years old. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made human beings to go through phases, and every phase, once it's over, that's it. You will enjoy the memories. And you cannot duplicate that phase again. Wallahi, sometimes now I say, Ya Allah, I wish I still could do what I did when I was in my 30s or my 40s. But I don't live in memories only, I enjoy them. But now I say, what can I do in my 50s? What shall I prepare for my 60s if I get there? If I don't, then I have to continue my journey on the highway of life as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wishes. And if I have followed the manual during every phase of my life, I am, inshallah, ready to continue my journey with happy and enjoy. Look, it's all enjoyment, it's all happiness. God created us to be happy, not to be miserable. That's why there is that special enjoyment after we take that exit. There is enjoyment in the grave. But it's all gonna be dark. Don't ever believe that. The darkness is for that cage called the body. That is not gonna be used anymore. That's not going to be used anymore. And I gave the example in previous weeks that, and I talked about Ammu Amjad. Amjad. Okay, I talked about him renovating his family room and his kitchen and it's the same house. But we renovate. It's the same soul. It's us. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala changes or renovates it for us from the womb of our mothers, then into this life we call al-hayat al-dunya, life on this planet, then life in al-barzakh, then life on the day of judgment, then life in the hereafter. It's all life. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. But we've got to look at things in perspective. It's all enjoyment. But if you did not prepare for that enjoyment, you've got to spend a period where you are not enjoying it. If you really abused a certain period and you smoked because somebody hooked you on smoking and you developed emphysema or you developed something that is related to smoking, you've got to spend a period where you're not enjoying life. Because you are taking medications, you are going through, chemotherapy, you are hoping that you can resume enjoyment. People who really did drugs, they thought at that time they were having a good time, man. They damaged their body. Now it's rehabilitation. They have to spend time where they're not having fun. Because they are now taking certain medications to deal with, being hooked, and they are having a horrible time. Because people who are hooked on drugs, when the time comes and they can't get it, you know what happens to them. You know what happens to them. They go through withdrawal symptoms and they are killing. They can't take it. They're not having fun. They're not having fun. So why? Are we not intelligent? Don't we like our lives? Love and life, love. If you don't love your life, you cannot live a life of loving. Did you get it? Life and love. You've got to love your life. You've got to enjoy everything about your life. Everything. Even if you look, others have something you don't have. Yes, because God said, I'm going to show you in the end, you're all the same. There are people who have billions of dollars, they can't enjoy them. They can't. They wish they can eat, an onion with a tomato, with a loaf of bread, and sit outside. They can't do that. They can't.